Okay, this is my Ravia stove on my boat, Wanton. As you can see, it's a 2-burner Metho stove. When I first got this stove, I didn't know how to use it at all, and I spilled the Metho, and I didn't know what was going to happen next. Unfortunately, as Metho would, it actually caught fire, and some of it flowed in below the stove, and you can see there where there was a little bit of damage done. Now I put it out with my fire extinguisher. Water would have done better, would have been cleaner and easier to get rid of. So if ever you have an accident spilling Metho, just use water. Now lighting the stove is relatively easy. First you put the methylated spirits into the stove. It usually takes about 1 litre with mine when I fill it from scratch. I usually top it up every 2 or 3 days, and 1 litre would last me at least a week, making lots of coffees and that sort of stuff. Lighting it is very straightforward. There's the top look at the bowl, right? And basically you see the bowl on the side and where the fire is supposed to be when it's cooking. I'll turn it on and you can see the Metho flowing in, right? I now turn it off and you can see it flowing about there in the bowl. That's about as much as you'll need. I light it, and I think that's a light. Yep, that's a light. Now I'll let it flare up a little bit so that you can see how big a flame it can cause. If you put more Metho there, obviously it'll flare up a bit higher. You've got to be careful to keep your curtains out the way. See, curtains there? I don't usually do that actually. Usually I just leave it flat, as in that one. But today, just so to show you the health and safety issues, I decided to actually do that. I don't like the idea of doing that actually. Now, what I do, usually I put the kettle on top of it so that it gets a little bit of heat before it actually gets started. Now, I'll just move that to the side so you continue to see the flame going down, right? And when it's almost out, right, I want it to go down a little bit more, you just turn the stove on, and there's your nice methylated spirit stove working. That will cook very safely, right? But as I and others have said here, do not take your eyes off the stove. It could easily get blown out with a stiff breeze into the boat. The Metho will keep flowing, then you go to light it and you got a fire on your hands. So just stay with it, right? It doesn't take long to cook, contrary to what some people have said. Now the other thing I wanted to show you is how I stopped the problem of the Metho flowing below the stove if it overflows. You'll see in the corners here, I'll just move that aside, you'll see in the corner over there, I'll just try and do a close-up. See that little grey tabs there? That's actually kneaded epoxy. It's blocking the little fold crack that there was, and I put it on every corner. So my bowl underneath the Metho stove bowls is actually now Metho proof. How's that? Pretty good. So yeah, changing the wick. The wick is changed by undoing that nut there, right? Pulling the control knob out, and then placing there in it a wick, which looks like that.